Hi, I'm Paul Miller, founder and CEO of B2B Growth Lab. This is the third in a series of free videos about how to win B2B customers in a virtual world. This video is all about why and how to ask a handful of the right questions in your discovery meetings so that you can build a compelling business case. This is all about making your first meeting really count. Now, why would you want to do that? So there's an old expression that says you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. And in the case of business development, that's absolutely true. What will happen is that if you make a good impression with somebody, there is a very strong chance that you will get to talk to them again and possibly help solve their problems, come up with a solution, provide a proposal, that type of thing. But if you don't make a good first impression, if you're not seen as adding value, you probably won't get another look in. So this is all about making that very first meeting really count. It is best described as a discovery session because you are all about trying to discover what the key issues are for this particular person or company. So we'll talk about why you need to cover off 3 to 4 key issues using 10 to 15 questions, and also as a next step to offer low cost or even no cost assessments or some other type of mechanism to make it easy for them to evaluate you and to get a little bit committed, but without them having to put their hand in their pocket or reaching for their wallet. So a 15-minute meeting plan. Before each meeting, I would encourage you to just take 15 minutes to, number one, define the result that you'd like to achieve. What would you like to leave that meeting having accomplished? You walk out of that meeting and say, I achieved the goal. Mission accomplished. Number 2, research the people who are attending. Google or LinkedIn search and find out a little bit about their background and their experience and their credentials. Describe the 3 to 4 issues that you wish to explore and then come up with 10-ish questions to ask. If you've got your 3 to 4 issues and around about 10 questions and you've done a little research on the people that you're meeting and you've got really clearly defined in your head what single-minded result that you want to walk away from that meeting with, then that's a pretty good meeting plan. Need. What are some of your biggest challenges right now? What are your short-term goals? What are your long-term goals? What do you perceive as your greatest strength? What do you perceive as your greatest weakness? What is your single biggest, most important issue? Do you have a white hot pain point? And then finally, is there anything keeping you awake at night? There's a half a dozen questions that you could pick from in order to try and understand a prospect's need. Economic impact. 3 questions here. If you could solve the problem, what would the economic impact look like? Would you rather cut costs, save money, or increase productivity? And one of the things that board members will understand is cutting costs. But not everyone's geared that way. So some people are all about growth, or they may wish to capture a competitive beachhead, or they may want to take a position in the marketplace which makes them a marquee brand. That's what you want to try and get to the heart of the matter. And then finally, do you have standard ROI targets or return on investment targets? Occasionally, you'll get someone who says, we need something to have a payback within 18 months. You'll have other people who say things like, we need to get a 15% annual rate of return. Whatever it is, if you can understand what those ROI targets are, it helps make you position your final proposal so that it fits in with what their expectations will be. Result. What does success look like when it comes to solving XYZ? What would you consider an MVR or a minimum viable result? And what we're saying here is you don't want to set the benchmark too high for yourself. Remember what Warren Buffett said, I don't look for 7-foot bars to leap over. I look for 1-foot bars that I can step over. So that's why you're looking for a minimum viable result. What would need to happen in your company to make that happen? You might have the best idea on the planet, but if they can't marshal the resources, or everyone's so flat out that they've got no time to spend on this thing, or no one's prepared to moonlight on yet another project, you're going to be in trouble. So a good question to ask is, what would you need to do internally in order to make something like this happen? And then finally, you want to know, are there any showstoppers or blockers getting in the way? If there are some things which just make it unviable, you need to know that up front. Then finally, at the end of the meeting, I want you to take 5. Before you get in your Uber, train or plane, spend 5 minutes highlighting the key takeaways. Make a note of every significant comment, fact, and quotable quote. If someone says something remarkable, use that, because they'll recognize that it's their words and they'll appreciate it when you do repeat back. They'll say, "You've been listening." And then finally, summarize what those top 3 facts or comments are. This video showed you how to structure a series of questions to discuss your customers' needs so that you can develop a convincing business case. The next video will explore the simple science of empathy so that you can do effective stakeholder engagement to create consensus among the people influencing the decision. This will move you towards a yes. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.